Am I a jerk if I tell my friend that her boyfriend is planning to propose? My best friend has been dating her boyfriend for over 5 years. A while back, he reached out to me to help figure out ring size and the setup so he could make this the most magical day for her. Having known my friend for over 20 years, I know exactly how she wants her proposal to go and who she wants to be there, so I relayed all this information to him months ago via texts and over the phone. I even took the time to covertly find and confirm which ring she would love the most. A little background: my friend is incredibly family and friend-oriented, and in the past expressed to me on multiple occasions, especially during holiday season, that in the 5 years they've been together, he hasn't really made much of an effort to indoctrinate himself into her family or friendships the way she has for his. While I do generally like him, I have always felt that he is incredibly self-serving and self-focused. Recently, through a mutual friend, I found out he started a group text between his, emphasis on his, friends and his family to set up the time and date of the proposal. He has not only excluded myself, and according to the screenshots I've seen, he is doing everything verbatim I suggested he do, but he has completely excluded her family and other close friends from the event. He is planning on only having his boys and family present for the occasion, and knowing my friend this would ultimately break her heart not being able to share this moment with her loved ones. I got heated and called him. At first, he was dodging my questions, then just outright said, "This is my proposal and I've spent enough time and money to choose how I do it, just be happy for your friend. It's not like you're not coming to the wedding." This infuriated me, and to make matters worse, I ran into her mom and dad at the grocery store and subtly asked if they knew of any possibility she was getting engaged. They were unaware, and I know for a fact my friend has told him that he needs to ask her parents for their blessing. She's somewhat traditional. My friend wears her heart on her sleeve, and I can predict how this event will go down when she sees all of his close friends and family and none of hers. Considering her previous sentiments about his lack of interest in her family/life, she will 100% see this as being hurtful and selfish, and I know she'll cry. To make matters worse, the location of the proposal is a whopping 30 minutes from her parents' home. I don't want to get involved in a fight or reveal the surprise, but on the other hand, I feel I owe it to my lifelong friend to help her avoid being hurt and disappointed, maybe even helping her rethink what her future would look like with someone who just doesn't really appreciate what she values in life. So, am I a jerk if I were to tell my friend about his proposal? Update to this story. The very next day, the proposal happened and there was a huge chaos ensued. Follow for part 2 of the story. The full details is located on my channel link in the bio. So on Saturday, the day of the proposal, I got a call from her boyfriend. He was screaming at me, blaming me for not showing up. He didn't even invite me to the proposal with her parents because she was upset they weren't there. I was slack-jawed. I told him I knew this would happen, and he says verbatim, "You just admitted you knew this would happen. So if you knew the whole time and you actually cared about her, you would have invited them." I was gobsmacked and hung up on him. Not even an hour later, I get a call from her asking me to come to her parents. According to her, this is how the situation played out. He popped the question, she said yes, and the people he invited popped out from hiding. She was bombarded by 4 of his guy friends, his mom, dad, older brother, and his sister-in-law. His parents were holding a sign that read, "Welcome to the family, Mrs. Insert his last name here," and this is where things go downhill. I did not know this before, and I thought I knew everything, but my friend doesn't want to change her last name, and she's told him that repeatedly since they got together. She's an only child from a Ukrainian family, and with everything going on with Ukraine in the last year, she's doubled down. When she saw the sign, she joked, "Mrs. his last name? I think you mean Mrs. her last name." Everyone went silent until his mom said, "Well, the ring is already engraved, no changing it now." She takes the ring off and sees Mrs. his last name engraved on the band. Then she asked if her parents were coming. He gave every excuse. He didn't have their number, there were too many people there, he wanted to keep it private, and eventually said, "This was my proposal to you, and now my family is your family." We can just send your parents the pictures later. She took the ring off and left. That's when I'm assuming I got that call from him. She went straight to her parents. She asked them about the engagement, they were clueless. She then asked if I knew anything. I asked if she was in the right place, she said she was, so I told her I would answer any questions she had, rather than dumping everything on her. She was upset but thanked me. She was furious when I told her about the call from him earlier and said, "Does he really think I'm that shallow?" She said it wasn't about having a perfect proposal or her parents there, it was about him making the whole thing about himself as always, and she was done feeling ignored and belittled. So this was her breaking point. She's staying with her parents currently and has been receiving texts from him. The worst one so far is him telling her she has to pay him back for the ring and for ruining his life. Right now, all I can do is be here for her, and whatever decision she makes, I will fully support because, as you've all helped me realize, this isn't about me, it's about her. Not my monkey, not my circus.
Am I a jerk for not helping MYH neighbor with their young children? I live in a major city in Ontario, Canada. I live in a small subdivision and have 5 neighbors total on my street. For the past few years during the winter when we're getting a lot of snow or a bad storms, as I'm leaving for my overnight shift at around 8 to 9 p.m. I'll put my wife's windshield wipers up on her car and do a quick walk around to my other 5 neighbors and put their windshield wipers up on their cars, obviously not if they're outside or something, but if it looks like they're in for the night. Many of them forget to do this, as many of them have children and it typically slips their mind, and their wipers will be frozen to their car in the morning. It's just something nice I like to do to look out for my neighbors. They're all always grateful of this and thank me for it. Many of them started doing it too, and there will be nights where I'll forget to put mine and my wife's up, and in the morning one of the neighbors has done it for us. Anyway, recently one of our neighbors moved and a new family moved in as of last week. It's a young couple and their 2 young children. The other night I was leaving for my overnight shift at around 9 p.m. It was snowing really heavy and we were supposed to be getting almost 30 centimeters of snow and it was freezing out. So I put my wife's wipers up and do my usual quick walk around to the other neighbors. I was hesitant when I reached my new neighbor's house, as I've only introduced myself once, but did it anyway. As I was putting the second wiper up on their pickup truck, the husband came charging out of his front door yelling, "Hey, what the F***ck are you doing to my truck?" I tried to explain to him I was just putting his wipers up to help him. He continued to scream at me to get the hell off my property and don't touch my shit again. The wife then came out and started yelling at me too. I apologized and started walking away. Some of my other neighbors heard the commotion and came outside to see what was happening. They tried explaining to him too that it's just something we do, both of them wasn't having it. Fast forward to this morning, I'm arriving home from my overnight shift and as I'm walking in I see the wife of this couple struggling outside to break the ice off the windshield wipers of the truck. Guess she was trying to take her kids to school and the wipers were frozen solid on the car. She sees me and yells over, "Hey there. Do you mind giving me a hand, please?" I look over to her and yell back, "No sorry, thought I was to never touch your shit again ma'am," and walked back inside. She yelled back at me, "Wow jerk." Told my wife about this, she thinks I should have helped her because she was just trying to get her kids to school. I disagree as I was just following what they told me. So, am I a jerk? Thanks for listening. Feel free to check out other crazy stories on the channel.